This is the reality of pregnancy for me right now, is I am breaking out in the most fun places that I typically don't. Mostly like around my chin area here. So this is more for me than you, obviously, because I just want to be very real with you guys about what is going on with my skin. I did a video for my first, I think I was about 8 weeks at the time, 8 weeks pregnant. And after I did that video, I was like, wow, I wish I talked about this, or I forgot to mention how this helped me with constipation. And so I've got a clearly a very fancy list here of some symptoms. I'm also going to go through like a typical day for me food-wise as a dietitian, and also just keeping in mind like some of the things that we need during pregnancy and supporting my immune system, supporting digestion, because all of those things have been really helpful for me. So disclaimer, always speak to your doctor about any of these types of things. Things have worked for me, but that doesn't mean they're going to work for you. Everybody's experience through pregnancy is their own. So please, please, please keep that in mind. So the first one, of course, because I'm a gut health dietitian, that we're going to talk about is constipation. So the constipation has gotten a lot better, knock on wood. The constipation was pretty bad, and it came on all of a sudden. Like, it wasn't bad for all of the 9 weeks that I've been in this first trimester. It really started this one point. I'll never forget the day, because I woke up and my usual routine is like, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I immediately have a bowel movement, but was just not getting that sensation at all. It really just felt like things have kind of come to a halt. So the two big things that I've changed, or maybe I would maybe attribute that to 3. So psyllium husk, I've been doing probably 2 teaspoons of that in my smoothie each day, which I'll talk about like what a typical day for me has looked like food-wise. Psyllium husk has been really helpful, just kind of acts to bulk up the stool, making it easier to pass. It's not like a osmotic laxative, so it shouldn't make you like have any sort of urgency, but it can be really great for just bulking up the stool, kind of pressing on the colon and giving you that sensation. Apple cider vinegar. So this was super random. Actually, one of my friends is pregnant and she was like, oh, I'm just craving apple cider vinegar. And even though she's way farther along than I am, it was like, oh my gosh, she knew that I was craving it too. So I put a little bit in my water, about a teaspoon, and that has also really helped with the constipation. Not sure why, like maybe it's helping to stimulate stomach acid, maybe it's just helping with, maybe there's some yeast kind of imbalance going on with the hormone shifts. I don't know, but either way, I am really enjoying it. So that has been helpful. The third, I mean, there's a few other factors, like my physical activity has gone up a little bit in the first few weeks, which I'll talk about. I was not comfortable doing like any exercise. It was something I was very nervous about. So exercise has increased. My vegetable intake has gotten better-ish. I've found certain vegetables that I can tolerate. I've been eating a lot less like bread, which I don't mean carbs. Like, I've just been eating a lot less bread, and that we're talking like bread that you just get at the grocery store. I'm gonna start making my own bread. One of my clients gave me this awesome cookbook that's all like gluten-free breads. But I think that was also binding me up a lot, because the first thing that I would reach for when I was nauseous was just bread. And it was like the thing that I could easily consume with like a protein for lunch or dinner. And I was just probably overdoing it a little bit than what I'm used to. So that's been helpful. And I've just replaced it with things like potatoes and rice to get the healthy carbohydrates in. So exercise, I have a history of hypothalamic amenorrhea. So several years ago, I had been diagnosed with PCOS. I had lost my period multiple times throughout my adult years and teen years because of overexercise or due to underfueling. The exercise thing for me, I didn't completely stop moving by any means. I was still doing yoga, I was still walking, even some Pilates, like specific prenatal Pilates, just because that made me feel comfortable knowing that I was doing something that was like technically supposed to be safe for your first trimester. So the first few weeks, I really kept it light. And a lot of that is just my own like fear of like overdoing it. I have heard from certain women that cutting out exercise for them may have helped in their journey to preventing miscarriage, just because of that might being the one thing that they change. But you just never know, because there's so many things that can cause a miscarriage, and they always tell you at the doctor's office that that's not the case. But the way my brain works is like I always feel like I have some control. So, and then I also went to an acupuncturist who was like, you shouldn't exercise, you're really sensitive, and I am really sensitive. Like I'm sensitive to a lot of different things. So just to be cautious and do everything I can, I kept it light for the first few weeks. Now in the past, probably 2 weeks, right? So week 8 and 9, I have started adding in some more strength training, resistance bands. I'm not lifting anything over than 2 15-pound dumbbells. So I'm doing like single leg deadlifts. For some reason, single leg or single arm, everything feels better during this trimester. So I'll do like single leg deadlifts, some lunges, hip thrusts with a band, really just trying to reframe and focus on like preparing my body for pregnancy, which has been really fun actually, because it's like a whole new goal for me. But the exercise has helped me a lot with mental health, which it's always helped me with. And also I think it's helped with the constipation and just maybe my symptoms, like maybe it's helped with some of my symptoms. I do feel like when I started exercising a little bit, the symptoms seem to be better, less prevalent during the day, which I read could be due to like hormones in your body, like positive hormones that are released during exercise, the endorphins, that are kind of blocking some of those negative symptoms like the nausea that you could feel. So that's been great. I have been loving it, but it's crazy because I'm only doing probably 2 days of strength per week. And even today, after doing lower body, I'm sore. But it feels good. It feels really good to just move my body. And I'm still walking my dog every day for probably like 30 to 45 minutes, because that's just our routine. And it's such a great way to get outside, get that morning exposure to sunlight. I've always been a fan of that for sleep, stress, mood, you name it. So that's exercise. Nausea has been a lot better. And you know, it's like one of those things when nausea all of a sudden goes away and then you're like, why is it gone? And then it comes back and you're like, oh, why is it here? So nausea is a lot better. It comes and goes. I don't really have it in the first half of the day anymore. I have it more so in the evening. Usually comes in right before dinner and is worse like right after I eat dinner, and then it kind of dissipates after I eat. Balancing blood sugar, like eating every 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, has been a game changer. Like the number one thing that will make that end of the day worse is if I skip my afternoon snack. So I am like religious. I'll show you, I've got like a thing of organic rice cakes and some sunflower seed butter. I've got dried fruits, some apricots, which are a great source of iron. And this is because I refuse to let that happen. So get some good quality snacks in there that make you feel good, that you can prioritize. Ginger, magnesium, vitamin B6, these are all things that I've heard are like potential remedies for nausea. None of those really worked for me. In fact, ginger, I feel like actually makes me more nauseous, which is pretty wild. It definitely helps with digestion and bloating, but I do feel like the ginger makes me more nauseous, so gonna nix that. Mood swings. Honestly, the end of the day is the worst, which is right about the time that Jordan comes home, so lucky him. Yeah, the mood swings have been pretty bad in the end of the day. It's like super low tolerance for things. Stress seems to be at its worst, just kind of like feeling a little like low-key depression, questioning everything. Like we just moved to a new house and there's just been like all these overwhelming feelings that have come up. And I mean, we've had quite the year, right? We got married, we went on a honeymoon, we moved across, not across the country, halfway across the country after living in a completely new place for 2 years. So I'm probably also processing a lot of that, but nonetheless, the mood swings make me feel like I'm back in high school. You know, Jordan and I just have to kind of work through that as a couple, and he's been very patient with me, and we sit down and we chat about things. And it's also been really important because there's things that have come up that maybe have been bothering me or upsetting me that I need support with. And it's so great that we can sit down and do that together. So a typical day for me food-wise has changed. It's usually changes, but there's a lot of things that have been pretty similar and staples for me. So for the first few weeks, it was just getting really cold here. So I could not do my smoothies, even though I was like craving them because I just wanted something cold. But I did protein pancakes, and there was pumpkin and oat flour, psyllium husk in those, and some egg. I think that was it. Very simple recipe. And then I would top those with like honey and almond butter, sunflower butter, berries. I even put a little layer of chia pudding in there. And that was how I started my day every day for a few weeks. And that was really nice. And then for snacks, I made like the banana bread from my Rewire Your Gut cookbook. I put a little protein powder in that. I've been doing a lot of chia pudding, certain nutrients that are really important to get during pregnancy: calcium, iron, magnesium, vitamin C for your immune system, folate to prevent neural tube defects. So I've been sprinkling a lot of these foods intentionally because of that. So the chia seeds are a good source of calcium. The second snack that I have each day is usually like a cottage cheese or Greek yogurt. That way I know I'm hitting another great source of protein, calcium, but also great source of probiotics. Like the cottage cheese that I've been using is the Good Culture one. Probiotics are so important for a healthy immune system. I mean, I still take my own brand of I take the Fem Balance probiotics because there's a good amount of research on probiotic supplementation and pregnancy outcomes and just like vaginal health. So I've been taking these throughout pregnancy, but I'm still going to continue to try to incorporate fermented foods into my diet to help support gut health overall. So like chia pudding as the first snack, maybe doing a Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Super weird. My favorite snack for a few weeks was the sour cream and onion popcorner chips with the cottage cheese. Don't knock it till you try it. One of my clients, she is a young client of mine and she's a pretty picky eater, and she tried it and she validated it. I'm just saying, like, give it a try. Pregnant or not pregnant, it was delicious. I've since grown out of that. The thought of that makes me nauseous. So that's another thing with the food I've been eating is typically can't eat the same thing 2 days in a row, except for things like chia pudding or smoothies or whatever. So protein pancakes, chia pudding, Greek yogurt, full fat Greek yogurt in the afternoon. And then for lunch, pretty classic eggs with some sort of carbohydrate, whether it's potatoes or rice, tortillas, breads, and then try to get some sort of vegetable. And I've been loving like just throwing sea snacks, great source of iodine, which is really important for baby's development. Been throwing those in there too, just like crunchy, salty. Been loving those. And then dinners, oh man, all over the place. Like I've made soups, I've made chilies, trying to make sure I'm keeping my iron levels up. So things like red meat, we're doing grass-fed organic. But honestly, at the end of the day, it comes down to protein, carb, veg at every single meal, protein at every snack, and then kind of adjusting that to my cravings or aversions. Things to keep in mind, really important foods for pregnancy. So I mentioned calcium. If you don't tolerate dairy, I don't tolerate a lot of dairy, so I'm trying to like incorporate other sources of dairy that aren't just cheese. Like the cheese for me was very constipating. So I'm trying to strike a balance there, and I can't really eat it just from a like craving perspective. It really does turn me off. Kelp noodles. I really like to incorporate chia seeds, like the chia pudding. If you tolerate soy products, that's personally a no-no for me for my hormone balance. It is a great source of calcium. Molasses, figs, dried figs, almonds contain a decent amount of calcium. Bok choy, broccoli, again, all pretty difficult foods for me to get in right now. So that's where like yogurt, cottage cheese, those have been huge staples for me. And you can also get fortified products. So like almond milks and things like that have calcium carbonate added to them, just know that those could cause a little bit more constipation and some GI upset, because that form of calcium just kind of comes with the natural side effects. But try to get it from food as best as you can. I'm aiming for at least 3 servings of calcium per day, which kind of ensures trying to get the amount that we need to help build the baby's bones and keep it healthy and keep our own bones healthy. Because if you're not getting enough calcium, your baby's going to take calcium from you, which puts you at risk. Second nutrient is folate. So folate is very important for preventing neural tube defects. Lots of really great foods that I love and have really liked through pregnancy. Things like oranges are a great source of folate. Asparagus is a great source, certain whole grains, but most of the time you're going to be taking a prenatal that has folate in it, which is great. But I personally love to try to get a lot of my nutrients from food as much as possible. So folate is another important one. 3 is iron. So iron, especially because your blood volume's going up, you're building a human. You might find that you are having symptoms of anemia, or if you went into pregnancy anemic. So we've been doing a lot of lean red meats, turkey, even things like fish have iron. Molasses contains iron. Other dried fruits like raisins, dates, beans, lentils, also great sources of iron. And we've been rotating a lot of those in. So the supplements that I'm currently taking right now, I'm taking an omega-3. So omega-3s are an essential type of fat, especially as your baby's brain is developing. You need these 2 types of omega-3s called EPA and DHA, but DHA is incredibly specific to pregnancy. But I'm just taking my regular Nordic Naturals, omega-3, and doing that first thing in the morning with food to optimize absorption. Prior to pregnancy, I was taking grass-fed liver in capsule form. So I'm still doing that, just 1 serving. The supplement I take calls for 6 servings. I only take 1. Really great source of vitamin A, which you don't want to get too much of, which is why I've always just done the 1 per day. Liver is a great source of iron. It's a great source of folate and a great source of B vitamins. So I've been loving my liver. It's always been something that's helped me. I'm doing half a serving of my prenatal. So I'm doing the Seeking Health optimal prenatal, and I'm just doing 4 capsules per day because I'm really getting a lot of my nutrients from my diet and other supplements. But I did take the full dose for the first few weeks. I just know that I really only need this, but most of the time you should really just take your full dose of the prenatal to be on the safe side. I'm doing my probiotic, which I told you about, the Fem Balance one that's specific to like vaginal pH, but also encompassing a wide variety of the other beneficial bacteria. I'm doing my vitamin D just as a maintenance dose so that I maintain my levels because I've been low in the winter in the past. And then whole food vitamin C every day to support my immune system. So I hope this video was helpful. I would love to hear your comments, your questions. I am gonna continue to document throughout my pregnancy. It's something that I've really just committed to. It's really helping me just be distracted and look forward to things and kind of try to celebrate each moment of this process. And I also just would love to connect with other people. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.